Okay, when you're ready.
Pledge allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a picture.
I know, because I'm so used to it being over in this corner.
Perfect time.
All right, moving on, approval of agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Is there anyone opposed? Thank you. Conflict disclosure, are there any?
No.
None? Perfect. Moving on to public input. Is there any public input?
Signed up.
All right. Quick. Number 6, business manager report.
Okay, you all have in front of you, all I have to go through is the 5-year capital outlay plan. So you all have that in front of you. I apologize, I didn't get it to you sooner. I was having with my spreadsheet. But I did email it all to you, so you do have it in your email also now. The first page is just a summary. It shows fiscal year 25. It shows what we budgeted in actual, so you can just kind of see how that played out. And then we have the current fiscal year and then the next 5 fiscal years. So you have quite a few that more than just 5 years there, but it's just to give a better picture of what's happening. So that front page, all the pages behind it all funnel to that first page. So probably easier to have that off to the side and then we can go through a little bit. I'll just give a brief overview. Certainly stop me if you have any questions. So revenue, that next page that says debt. Oh, sorry, that's not supposed to be debt. That's what I was having problems with. That's revenue, that page number 2. The different colored lines, like in 2016, 2020, and 2023 are all years that the capital outlay formula changed. So I just have those highlighted so that we can remember that's why things look different. In 2020, the formula changed and that was when we went to that. We get paid a max number per student. So they take our enrollment and we just get a set dollar amount. That year it was set at 1,400. Every year it increases by 3% or inflation, which you can see what those increases have been. So for 2026 payable 2027, they've already said from the Department of Revenue that inflation will be 2.5. So that's the factor I put in there. And then I used our enrollment from this year. So you can see there's an enrollment column, there's the dollar amount per student we get, and then what that increase. So I was very conservative in projecting revenue. For the next 5 years, I just kept enrollment flat. That was what we did last year also. And then I just kept CPI increase at 1%. So it's extremely conservative. So there could be additional revenue if enrollment jumps back up or if CPI is more than 1. And then beyond that is just kind of a guess as to what enrollment and everything else will do. Any questions on that?
And we used enrollment 2,536.4.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's lagging. So like this year, if the dollar amount is, so that green is the upcoming year. So if the dollar amount per student is 1,633, it actually calculates off the previous year's enrollment. So this current enrollment, if that makes sense, but I just kept it flat. Any questions on that? Okay, the next page just details about all of that we have. So capital outlay certificate issuances, we had 6 of them, well, 5, and then we have the refunding that we just did. So those have to get paid out of our capital outlay revenue. So what I did is, if you remember, you guys just approved to refund 3 of the capital outlay certificates. So 2014, 2015 and 2018. So you'll see they kind of end in 26, 27, but then they roll into that new one that's titled 2026. So that's the combination of those three with the new debt schedule. And we saved around 600,000 doing that refunding. So that's the top section. We had the Sanford land debt that's been paid off for a couple of years. The next is projected bus leases. So we try to do 2, sometimes 3 buses every year, replacing old and sometimes adding new. So you can see what we're projecting to do. When it has a year there, that's like the fall. So we usually kind of put our order in like this time of the year, and then those buses come in the fall. So for fall of 2026, we're projecting 2 buses and a different style activity bus. So it'd be an executive coach, kind of has the regular cab like of a truck, and then has the fancy back. It will seat more. It'll seat 57 instead of our activity buses that we have now seat like 48. So it will seat more. We can then hopefully travel out west with just 1 bus, sometimes anyway. We might have to get to the point where we have travel rosters for some of our away events for basketball, volleyball, track, whatever. So that's the plan. Part of the reason for that is, well, there's 2 reasons. One, it's more expensive, but we can seat more in the bus, and then we only have to take 2 drivers. If we take the, when we take the bigger activity buses out west, we have to have 4 drivers because of just the time it takes to go out there. And we can't always find 4 activity drivers. So this will kind of be a solution to that.
Just by adding those few extra seats, it makes a difference, like a bubble.
I mean, coaches may still have to go in a Suburban, or we may still have to take, or maybe some kids go with a coach in a Suburban, but I think for the most part, we can make it work with that.
And then otherwise, we want to do the rosters or whatever, we're only, where the team would go. Okay.
We may still end up doing the rosters,
Yeah.
but the 57 passenger is going to make the difference between 2 buses and 4 drivers versus 1 bus and 2 drivers. We'll still send 2 drivers.
And then just 27, we've got 3 buses. And then there's kind of notes this debt schedule goes on 2 pages. So if you kind of go across, everything in the yellow is just projected what those lease payments will be based on what I estimated what I think the bus is going to cost, and they're increasing dramatically every year, and then plus interest, and then spreading those payments out. We always lease them for 6 years. So 3 buses in 27, that's full-size buses plus a minibus. 28, 2 buses, and you can see sometimes we're replacing one and adding one, and sometimes usually we're replacing and adding one, I guess I should say. Again, kind of just 2 buses every year and then throwing in a minibus every couple years. So that's the bus leases. The next section below that is technology leases. So we usually lease all of our technology from either HP or Apple. We have to do Apple ones separate because we have to do them through them. We used to wrap them into the HP lease, and they wouldn't let us do that anymore. So Chris comes up with a tech long-range plan. Every year, a building gets a new they're on a rotation. So all of the staff in that building get new devices. And then every year we're buying new devices for 5th grade and 9th graders. So new Chromebooks. So, and we just keep cycling them. Those then go down to third, 4th, and 5th. We just keep recycling. So that's our rotation. And she has it mapped out for the next 5-6 years. And so that just is how that plays out. Some rotations are bigger, like high school, middle school. Here's a little smaller, less staff. I think DEC gets wrapped in with the high school maybe. And so it just kind of varies each year depending on how many devices we have to purchase and whether we're replacing iPads at the elementary. And so we try to have all of our devices that we have within the district on a rotation. So even we have devices for activities to use, they're on a rotation. We have like tablets at the middle school that the STEM teachers use, those are on a rotation. So we just try to have everything on a rotation. So we're always replacing it and it's not a surprise.
And who's up next year?
What?
School's up next year?
Which school is it next year? Middle school. Yes, sorry. If you look on the next page, the next two pages, so page 5 and 6, that is a breakdown of those technology leases. And so then you can see the rotation. Sorry, forgot about those 2 pages. So you can see what's being purchased as part of that lease and then this. So we're slowly replacing all of our projectors with view boards. So like that board. So that's going to be expensive for a few years, but then those we are projecting to last 10 years. So they'll get them, then they'll have a rotation where they won't get one and then they'll get a new one again. So that'll spread that out.
That's a lease as well?
Yes, that's part of the lease. Yep. So everything you see listed there. So like if you look at fiscal year 27 on page 5, you can see it's the middle school staff rotation, Chromebooks for 5th and 9th, Chromebooks for 3rd and 4th. We had to buy some extras to replace replacing the computer lab. So we try to basically do all devices in that building, taking out projectors, adding view boards. Student Keeper is something new. It's a software monitoring program for the teachers to use. I don't know a lot about it. Chris could probably tell more, but if you want more information on that, we can let you know. So they can kind of see what the students are doing and lock some things down if they're not supposed to be. And then replacing the camera server, the current middle school camera server doesn't keep recordings very long. So the new server will allow it to keep them for 30 days, right, Chris? And then just some view board training. So any questions on that? And then you can just see each year is basically a lot of the same similar type items, each rotation. Any questions on those? So those kind of tie together, those 2 technology pages. Those numbers tie into that technology section on the debt. Then you have the curriculum page that just tells you what curriculum is up for rotation and the estimates on what we think it's going to cost. Curriculum is getting more and more expensive, so always kind of a guess, but that's the new plan for curriculum rotation. And then for construction, we don't have a whole lot. We have the HVAC final payment for this upcoming year for legacy. But we replaced all that HVAC in the older section of the building. And so we did that on a 5-year payment plan, essentially with the vendor. He was generous enough to do that. That was Climate Systems. And so we'll make that final payment on that. Otherwise, most construction projects are on the very last 2 pages because I've wrapped them into that capital outlay money that you guys issued last year. So not a lot for construction. Buildings and custodial, these are just things that are needed for the buildings or for ops or the custodians. So you can see for next year, we need some pallet racking for storage in the new ops shop. Some art displays. They're boards that can go out during conference time and they can display boards, I think, that can display artwork. We're looking at replacing our time clock system. What we're doing now, we've been with this company for quite a while and we've tried some different variations on time clocks. Right now we're using iPads and they're just not working very well. That doesn't, if the electricity goes down at all or data gets cut off for some reason, it doesn't store anybody's punches. So then Wendy's having to do a lot of hand entry and it's just not very reliable. So we're looking at a different company, but we would need to buy actual time clocks. So it's kind of an investment. We're looking at replacing the choir risers for the PAC. So the current risers we've had for a long time, there's only 3 rows and they're a little wider. So this would replace those and it'd be 4 rows and they're a little tighter. So they'll fit in the PAC on the stage better and they'll come forward more. Cause if you went to any of the events, the stage was way back so that we could get it all to fit. So that's the plan for that. And those will be much easier to move around for staff also, so it'll eliminate hopefully any kind of potential work comp issues, because they fold up and they're on wheels and you can move them around really easy. I just put a line item in for furniture across all the buildings. We need to replace desks or chairs or conference room chairs or tables, so just kind of a placeholder line item. And then we need a floor scrubber at Frontier. And then Eric just put in next year a robotic scrubber for the high school. We'll see if that,
Like a big Roomba type thing?
yeah. We'll see.
Wow.
They're extremely expensive, but it would save a lot of man hour time. So we'll see if we really do that or not.
That is a real fun with you.
Well, you'll see. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
So, yeah.
sorry, you may have said it, we can focus on what you're saying, but what's in this previous page, the maintenance bus building, what's that for? Line item for the maintenance bus building? On the construction one.
Oh, that was for last year.
Oh.
We added the extra stalls.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. Fiscal year 25 is still on there because it carries forward to that, still on that summary page. Grounds equipment. So starting with looking at fiscal year 27, a tow behind lift. So we always have to get, like replace the lights in the athletic complex or in some of the parking lots. We have to rent a lift all the time because we don't have a lift that goes high enough. So it'd be really handy if we had one for our own staff to do those things and not have to rent that. A zero turn mower to replace one of our existing ones, a tilt trailer to haul around equipment, because we're hauling around sometimes the tool cat or the bobcat or whatever, and we don't have a very good trailer with a very good ramp, and so it just poses a real security risk. So this will tilt, they drive on it, and then it goes down and be much safer. And then another 72-inch mower with a cab, snow blower broom, so that'll help with snow removal on sidewalks, and then it also makes mowing faster. And then you see the next year, another mower with a cab, trading in the skid loader for a new skid loader. Fiscal year 30, another zero turn mower, and then fiscal year 31, a robotic mower. We'll see.
Just out of curiosity, off the top of your head, you know what we pay a year in rent for the lift? Like when we do our own lights have we rented
Thousand.
it all?
If we rent one for a week, it's like $1,500
Okay,
to do that.
And we may rent them a couple times a year, so.
right.
I mean, obviously it doesn't offset the cost of having one, but I think we'd use it.
Sure. Well, we would use it more if we had one.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it saves the time and going and getting it and bringing it back and.
Yep.
I get it. I was just curious how much we use one now, but
Yeah.
after we get one, we would use it more. There's no question. So. Okay, thank you.
Where do we typically buy our equipment from?
It varies. A lot of stuff comes from Pfeiffer's or probably C&B equipment in Sioux Falls. Sometimes we can get, national pricing, so then it kind of depends who will honor that. John Deere usually has really good national pricing, like kind of like a source
Gotcha.
or whatnot. So we try to do that, or else we'll have to go out for bid. So custodial maintenance vehicles, you can just see, I'm just replacing some of our older existing pickups with little heavier duty pickups and snow plows so that they can use with our contracted removal. Any questions on those? And then transportation vehicles would be like vehicles that either staff check out or staff drive to transport somewhere. So you can see just replacing our Suburbans. Our Suburbans, most of them are pretty old. So we'd like to replace those every year.
So when we're buying new equipment and then ultimately new vehicles, I mean, are we trading that in
If they'll, yep, if they'll
They'll accept
accept anything for it. Mhm.
and then it's surplus if the
Yep. Yep. And then that surplus, whatever we get, either comes off the price of the new one, or if sometimes we sell them outright to somebody else. We don't necessarily trade it in, we just sell it outright. Then that money goes back into capital outlay that we get off the sale.
Okay.
Okay, band and vocal equipment, they submitted their requests and to put all of their requests in there, so you can see pretty significant investment this next year in equipment, band equipment. This elementary covers all three elementary buildings, middle school. They've gotten a lot of hand-me-downs from the high school as high school's gotten new equipment. So this would be replacing some of their more expensive equipment. And then they just projected it out for the next few years. So
Why did they take a big jump in 27, the middle school?
because there's pretty, I think they're replacing, like their entire drum set. So it's pretty expensive. And then I think a couple of other expensive items. I don't remember off the top of my head what all was on their list, but there she had a significant amount. Any questions on those? Then extracurricular uniforms and and equipment. We just have a rotation every 5-6 years. It just kind of keeps repeating. We do cheer and dance require uniforms every year because it kind of is dependent on whatever routine they're going to do. So they have a line item every year you will see. We used to have color guard in this, but the color guard items, they kind of just buy lots of different things. So we're going to move that into the general fund budget because it doesn't really quite fit in capital outlay. And then, and you'll see in fiscal year 28, I put in there to replace volleyball standards. We can see, I mean, it could get purchased this next year. We'll just have to see how things play out. But there's 2 at the middle school, which were hand-me-downs from the high school, and there's 3 at Venture. And I think we bought those new when Venture opened, but they get used a lot. And so they're in kind of rough shape. And then we moved the weight room into the old band rooms. And so we would like to replace, that was all purchased a long time ago with a grant, all that weight equipment. And so it's really old. And so are the cardio machines. So we'd like to replace all of that. And so that quote there is $145,000 to replace all of that and add some additional pieces. And then if you remember when we talked about the high school expansion and the remodel, we were going to put turf down in that entire hallway. And so then that's the cost to do that. I think it would, I'm not sure if that does the entire hallway, if it's just like 3/4 of the hallway. We'll figure that out, but that was the quote we had for that. So that'll be good for sprinting and pushing sleds and those kind of things. That was it for equipment, but you just see the rotation and it just keeps being done.
Do we need to add esports in as a extracurricular uniform?
We probably should. We've been fortunate enough now that, or for the first couple years that we've gotten donations to cover that from Alliance, but yeah, we probably should add that. Thank you for pointing that out. I'll work with Craig to get that added. Any other questions on that? And then the last 2 pages are the capital outlay certificate. I'm tracking that separate, so I just wanted to keep that separate from the regular capital outlay revenue. You can see at the top what the certificate proceeds were. So we got just over 7.5 million for that. We had to pay 40,000 in issuance costs to Standard & Poor for our rating for the bond issue or the capital certificate issuance, and Meyer Henry for all the attorney fees for writing up all the documents. So that left us with, oops, that should have been a subtraction of that. So then you can see what was done in 2025. what we budgeted and what the actual costs were. I think there's still some invoices that are out because I don't have a few projects, so I need to work with Wayne on that. And then what's projected for fiscal year 26. So most of fiscal year 20, or this coming summer, I should say, summer 26 is going to be asphalting the old part of the high school parking lot, and then some other areas up there. And some replacement of asphalt in front of the middle school in the bus loop where the garbage backs up to that's all kind of breaking apart to the food service area. And then replacing boilers, hot water heaters, carpet. And at Legacy, replacing the gym floor and the bleachers. And we have the land payment in there also. That could come out of regular capital outlay, but we did have land listed as an item that we would do here.
Did we ever get the refund on your rebate on the chiller or
We
what?
did for Venture. It was about 134,000.
Nice.
But we paid out probably 60,000 to ID Bailey to do all the work for
Do all
this.
the work.
So that wasn't net. That was,
And was there one
there's still one for the high school.
school too?
Yep, so that one's still in process. They're trying to, ID Bailey's doing that one also. They're trying to gather all the information from the contractors who did that project.
Okay,
So that's moving kind of slow.
so 40 to 50,000 for both? Or was that just for Venture?
That was just Venture.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then you can just see also 2027. Labeling on this did not work well. We have a couple different projects listed. And again, these can change as things happen, but we have replacing the turf at the sports complex. That might get pushed out. We'll have they'll reevaluate it, have it tested in April. And so we'll see how that testing comes back. If it's still in really good shape, we won't need to replace it next year.
Did we have it tested last year? That turf?
Every other year.
Other year?
Yep. And 2 years ago, they said it was still in phenomenal shape.
Okay.
I think they did add they add those beads, but we probably have to do that again, I would guess, but otherwise.
Probably just normal maintenance, isn't it? Adding the pellets and stuff.
Replacing more carpet, replacing more boilers and hot water heater, the land payment, we could just pay that off if we wanted to. And then resurfacing the south parking lot and the playground at Legacy. We talked about including that with the high school project, but the high school project, just to get a better price perhaps, because it's more asphalt, but the high school project, a lot to manage for this thing. So you can see that we would still have around $2 million left over of their certificate funds. I did ask Tom Grimman today, just to make sure. I was pretty sure you really have to have the money spent within 3 years, or at least an intent to spend it. It has to be completely spent within 5. And if you don't, then it has to be used to pay down debt, to pay the debt payments for there's a list of other projects there that we know are coming up, but we don't necessarily have dollar amounts for. 9th and Main Street. Seems there's developers really pushing to get more land developed around Venture. So then they'll put in 9th and Main, and we'll have a small portion on both of those that will be our cost. We talked about Venture when it was built. It was set up so we could add solar panels to it. So if we got all of our other projects done, we could do that. We talked about expanding our home bleachers. About the only thing we can do is go up. Add a couple more rows, I think, to get a few more hundred seats. We don't really have any more space to go out. And then the only other way to get more seats would be complete renovation and go really high. But we have poles in the way, so we're kind of limited on space for those. The ag program is in the old bus stalls at in the CTE/transportation building. So there, it's a dirt floor, so it'd be nice to add concrete there for them to work on their equipment. So I think that would be a high priority item. Replacing all of the tile floor, or the VCT flooring in the high school, the existing high school section. Make that more modern and match the new expansion. So we could do that. There was remodeling areas that we had identified when we did the high school expansion. The sped suite, there's a counselor suite, the old admin area, making that a school store, and some other office spaces. So we still could address that. 468th Street, there's no timeline on that. We talked to Justin last week and it doesn't sound like that's, at least not in the next 2 years for sure, but so we'll have a cost for that. We could replace flooring at the middle school. There's some areas where that flooring is breaking up and not in the best shape also. And then this building, the HVAC is extremely old and our electrical is concerning. You'll notice back on one of the other pages, we have to replace the main panel here. That was we have to do that. And so the electrical's been pretty pieced out as every addition's been made to this building. So replacing all that would be good, but I think that's the bottom of the list.
I'm just curious. I know that the electrical is important for a number of reasons, but have we had that looked at by electrician and inspected?
Yep.
And they're okay with it? I mean, obviously it's not the code because of the age, but
So insurance came in and did an assessment of the building and that came out of that that was a recommendation from the insurance.
Yep.
Reviewer. Yes, loss control. Thank you. And then Wayne had some electricians come in and look at it.
okay. So in the short term, we're okay. It's just
Yes,
we need to update it. Okay.
yes. So I know that's a lot and that was a real quick overview. Questions? We have, obviously, if you look at that summary page again, our fund balance is healthy and it's growing. So we have, even without the capital outlay certificate funding, we have a lot of flexibility. So I think as items come up, we can address them. And I think we just keep doing walkthroughs of the entire district and every building and identifying things and work with the principals or department directors and come up with our lists. The list is ever growing and changing.
As I remember, we had a basketball tournament up at the middle school, the playground, and there were some large cracks that were running through the middle. I don't know if that is a safety issue. They seem to be pretty large, so I don't know if
At the middle school?
that.
Yeah, they don't really use that playground anymore, I don't think.
Yeah.
Other than maybe before and after school. They don't have recess up there, so.
On the western side.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably do have more asphalt that needs to be addressed as we go.
Or just fill the cracks or
Yep.
just for maintenance.
Yep.
So.
Questions? So, I did send it to you, like I said, if you have any questions, you can let me know. We do ask that it just gets approved. It could change again, because obviously this will get incorporated when I present the budget to you in May. And then you guys you approve the final budget in September, so it could still change between now and then. You have items you think need to be addressed or things come up from traders.
Anything else? Can I get a motion to approve the 5-year capital outlay plan?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, number 7, new business resignations and new hires. Dr. Wierzaka?
Yeah, resignations. Austin Kohler for the 8th grade boys head basketball coach resignation. Tim Dingman, Assistant Drama Director. Jay Swadek, Elementary Principal. Brittany Miranda, High School Administrative Assistant. Alexis Foster, High School Special Education in the Life Skills portion. Nicolette Schmidt, Frontier Grade 2. New hires. Brent Johnson, Head Football Coach. Val Shepherd, this is a transfer from CSI Coach to the Elementary Autism Program at Venture for the school year 26. Also a transfer, Allie Johnson from Early Childhood Autism Program at Venture into the Elementary Autism Program at Venture.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve resignations and new hires as presented?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Opposed, thank you. All right,
Okay. I'm up again.
again,
So you have a budget summary for task in front of you. Vicky and I have been working on this for the last couple weeks. We did a lot of the legwork because obviously she knows her income and expenditures, but we just kind of worked together on the salary increase. And so you can see what the current rates are for, she has three different besides herself, there's three different classifications for her employees. So the program assistants are full-time and they get, they're eligible for full benefits. And then the adult and student aides are part-time and not eligible for any kind of health insurance benefits. So we're just proposing the same thing for the base rate that we had proposed for classified. So, which hasn't been approved yet. So I'm not going to mention the amount, I guess, right now, but then every employee also gets a quarter per year of service. So that's what we kind of base the proposal on. You can see she did some gathering of information, the childcare rates. You can see where the average is. She asked like Sioux Falls and various childcare agencies here in town. You can see what their rates are for the positions, what our rates are, and then the variance. So we are a little below, especially in the adult and student aides. So our thought would be over the next couple of years, try to raise those, you do market adjustments and try to get those closer to what the average is for the market. As we mentioned last time, so she is proposing a $5 increase for both summer and school year. Dr. Warzeka provided you with some information on historical numbers and increases. So it's been a couple years. Last year, she did add that activity fee. She said it's been well received. She didn't receive too many, really any complaints. Actually, everyone paid it and it was fine. And if they didn't want to pay it, then they just said, my student won't go on those activities, which is an option as well. So
That was like a $90 or
yep, so the summer is 95 because obviously they go do a lot more activities and events in the summer, and then the school year is 90. So that'd be basically on those full days when they go do something. So summer would go from 130 to 135 a week, and school year would go from 75 to 80 a week. We also talked about having staff bump to the top of the wait list, but staff also get a discount now. So they pay 50% of what the regular rates are. So Vicky felt like maybe they shouldn't get both. So she's proposing phasing out that discount, but then staff, if we're going to do that, then staff raise to the top of the wait list when they sign up. So that's up for proposal. You can certainly think about that. So you can just see the increase that would be going from a 50% discount to just 3% for staff.
How many staff do we have that take advantage of tasks?
3.
How many?
I think she said there's only 3 families. Well, maybe there's more. Maybe she was just referring to the other day that there was only like 3 family. Maybe it's 7. There was only like, so like last Friday, there was only like, I think 3 families that were there full day. So they're that's kind of the other thing they're taking. If they're not going to be there, they're taking a spot where someone else could use the, you know what I mean? And then you can just see the difference between revenue and expenses and the ending balance. I know the budget, everything, the numbers went down for revenue and expenses. She did some historical, just gathering data, historical revenue. Usually so what we had been projecting was if she was full, which she is always full, but there's times where it takes a while to get those filled. So she really only gets about 95% of the revenue from all of her actual slots versus what is coming in for revenue. Does that make sense? So she adjusted the revenue to just reflect 95% of what it would be with every spot full all year long. And then for expenses, I gathered a bunch of historical data for what we've paid out for salaries and benefits, because obviously that's 80% of or more of her budget. And we had been over budgeting for payroll. Hourly, I had come up with a chart and she had given me the number of days and the number of hours and who all works. Well, it was overinflated because the last couple of years that amount has been about $45,000 to $50,000 less than what was budgeted. So we went through and adjusted everybody's hours and the number of days they work and came up with, I think, a bit more reflective, accurate projection of those salaries and benefits. So it looks like it went backwards, but that's why it went, and it did, but that's why it went backwards. If that makes sense.
Do we have a wait list in the summer as well as in the school year?
Yes.
We do.
Yep.
It's not nearly as large, though. We have 65 students on the summer only waiting list. And they've been able to get about 15 of the students from the current school year waiting list onto that summer. Served in the summertime.
How many staff in the summer take advantage of the care?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. We can
We
get
didn't
that information.
provide that data.
Is the 27 included in, that included the to the market rate adjustments? I mean, we're not doing anything with market rate this year?
No, nope.
So then in 27, when we talk about the expenses for the cost, do we step that up a little bit to get closer to market?
Probably, yeah.
No.
He typically follows,
Like in this number right here, when we said expenditures, did we include the market rate?
no, there's no market, just what's proposed at the top.
Got it.
We wanted to see if we got a little more accurate this year on what those expenses are, and then we can look at it. I was kind of really pushing for a market increase based on the data she provided, but she said she doesn't really feel that the pay is why she doesn't get staff. It's just the hours. That nobody says anything or complains about the pay. It's more, it's hard to find people to work those split shifts. Cause I said, are you sure that you're not losing potential people who won't go work at Dairy Queen or go to Sioux Falls and work at McDonald's or wherever or even another daycare. And because they're get more hourly, and she said no. She does have a lot of returning staff. A lot of students return every summer. Return on the full days when they are on break and they can come back and do the full days when we're off school.
And she did indicate that it was, that she needs employee to student ratio for licensing as well, that she has to have the adult employees for the student employees. I kind of felt like if it was just student employees,
Yeah.
she probably would be
well-staffed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause she has capacity to take
Mhm.
more kids.
Yep.
It's just getting staff.
She said the combination adult aid and minor aid, can have 30 students together.
She does have, we've kind of been holding off. She does have capital improvements that need to be made to some of the buildings. We were holding off because we figured if we built that elementary that we would move them into that elementary building. But then since that's pushed out a few more years, she needs some roofing, repairs made, probably replacing HVAC in the two main buildings they use, and the decking needs to and not hanging. Our staff has fixed it many times, but it's just the decking, hangers are rusted, and so she does have capital improvements that need to be made, but there is a fund balance for her program, so we can dip that for those capital improvements.
So that's not reflected here.
Correct. That's just straight revenue and expenses. Yep.
So expenses don't include that stuff, you're sort of saying.
No.
And this supports the $5 increase, is that what you're saying, or, sorry?
Yes. So that revenue reflects that $5 increase. So you would need to approve, and it doesn't, I guess, she'd like to get her, her registration out for summer. But we always put a caveat in there that rates are subject to change. So if you don't feel comfortable approving it tonight, she can put it out and have that caveat in there that it could change, or if you're comfortable approving, you certainly can.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I think she needs to look at the market rate adjustment before you do another fee increase, like if we're gonna move forward with that. Cause it seems like we just do little ones at a time. We're gonna do it the market rate, which I highly recommend looking at. Worked really hard to get our staff.
Are you saying for this coming year, or do you think waiting a year?
Well, I think we should do that now,
Okay.
honestly. And build it into the if it's $10, then fine, it's $10. But
Okay.
like, I don't want to do $5 this year and then do $5 the next year and then $5 the next year to support the staff changes. So I think we need to be very thoughtful before we raise it
Okay.
this time and include that in there. And then I don't support the movement of getting rid of the staff discount either.
Okay. So not decreasing it at all, is keeping it where it's at?
Correct. It sounded like you said she wanted to phase it out completely, so we started at the 40.
But then do you also want staff to move to the top of the wait list? That was gonna be the give or take there,
But today they don't get to move to the top of the wait list.
wherever they fall on the wait list. So what we talked about was, should staff get an advantage because the program is here and they work here, so should they go to the top of the list? But she felt like if that happens, they shouldn't necessarily get both.
Mhm.
Respectfully, I don't think they should get a break. Already they can pick them down,
Yeah.
respectfully. So
An additional benefit to recruit people to work here too, I guess, in my mind. I guess I would want my kid where I work, so. To me, I support that of keeping a discount, just my opinion. Moving to the top of the list is just. To me, I don't know, that's more of a, when you sign your kid up, so that would be like a fairness thing across the whole community. I guess I would support keeping it the same, like you get the 50% discount, but you just get where you are in the chain, I guess, to me, I guess the 50-50, but.
So there's 7 that are currently,
There's not more than 7.
I don't think so.
There's absolutely not more than 7. Out of, there's
Is that because,
There's 102 enrolled across the entire district.
how many are
Not
on the
more
wait
than
list?
this.
Well, yeah, there could be a lot of staff on the wait list. I don't know.
There
Can we have
could be.
those numbers? Sorry,
Yeah.
that would help a little bit. I guess the discount doesn't mean anything if they don't ever get to use it, but they waited too long, but I understand what she's thinking, because if that's the case, then I may rethink think it.
Okay. Yeah, we can gather that information from her. And would you prefer she comes to the next meeting to visit with you?
I would,
Okay.
He would be good.
because she's gonna need to move on this and she's gonna come back to another meeting, sorry.
It could affect one kid or multiple kids.
I'd like to see the numbers too, based on school year and summer,
Of,
the staff.
okay.
Staff numbers, school year, summer.
And wait lists, right? You want the wait list, yeah.
Okay.
So with that, we don't need a motion tonight on that.
Doesn't sound like it.
Any other comments, questions, suggestions, et cetera, on task? If not, we'll move on to Chromebook fee.
Perfect. Okay. Up for consideration tonight, is a $5 increase in the Chromebook fee. The fee has been $30 since 2014-15 with no increase. The very first year we had Chromebooks, 2013-14, the fee was $25. The first accident is 100% covered by the school with a paid Chromebook fee of $30. The second accident is 60% paid by the school, 40% paid by the family. A Chromebook plus a license costs $400 and it's used for 4 years by the student, and a fee is collected annually. During the 25-26 school year so far, we've had 172 accidents. We've had, out of those 172, 109 screen replacements. You're not responsible for any of these, are you, Jackson? I am not. Just checking. I didn't think you were. 26 keyboards, replacements or repairs, and 37 undisclosed. 347 repairs have been completed that have not been charged to families at all. And that's above and beyond the 172 that were indicated above that I was talking about. The highest cost of a repair with accident protection was $106.23. Every student in grades 3 through 12 uses a Chromebook. Students in grades 6 through 12 take them back and forth between home and school. And just so everyone's aware, the fee can be waived if there's a hardship. You just contact building principals, work with family counselors in the building, Mrs. Frederick, business office, and we waive the fee. Okay. Normally, we would discuss fees at the annual meeting in July and we would set that. But students are working on dual credit classes and they would be checking out their Chromebooks for summer use sooner than the annual meeting. And the Chromebook is going to be part of the Chromebook fee is part of the registration process, which is currently launching. So that's why we're bringing it forward at this point rather than until July.
And also just add, so every summer, Chris's staff goes through every single device and they clean them, they replace any, or repair anything that's damaged. So when the student comes back in the fall, they're basically getting almost like a brand new device.
Yeah.
It's been refurbished. And so that is a huge expense that's not reflected because we're buying all those parts to replace all those items. Plus the time she has to hire, she does hire additional staff in the summer to do that work. And so there's the cost of that as well.
We self-insure, right?
I believe, like self-insure, yes, I guess, yep. So that's what the fee does, is we self-insure all of this because we pay for all of the repairs, we pay for all of it.
How much time does your staff spend like fixing them?
Well, you have one that's completely dedicated to Chromebook repair,
You are correct.
40 hours a week,
Yes.
one
correct.
person alone.
Correct.
Have we ever looked into what the cost is to get an ADP type of a program on them and what that cost in comparison to what we're paying?
On that sheet, Dr. Rizaga, there was, the cost that we did on top of it, and I'm thinking it was like over $100. But the HP, it was gone through with HP. Their criteria for what's a damage and needs to be repaired is different than what my criteria is. So if it was a cracked housing, it wouldn't replace it, whereas I will replace the cracked housing for free, but HP wouldn't. So it's more of a cosmetic thing. The cables, the batteries, they don't replace those. So we do, and we don't charge the families. Because I figure a battery is a consumable, so you shouldn't have to pay for that. And then the time spending to ship it to HP to have them fix it and returning it was a lag as well.
$5 enough? Any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, can I get a motion to increase the Chromebook fee to $5?
Motion. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. And moving on to letter E. Consider a $5 admission with reserved seating, the area high school musical.
We have the musical next month, 24th and 5th of April. So we are going to use the Bound app and explore reserved seating. Mr. Clayberg has created a map of the seats and labeled all of the seats for us and loaded them into the Bound app. However, it's difficult to split. Thank you, Mr. Clayberg. It's difficult to split, though, this $6 and $4 admission fee for an adult and a child seat, and then be able to do all of that with the reserved seating. So that's our activity admission, and that was set at the July annual meeting. We're wondering what your thoughts would be if we just came together between 4 and 6 with a $5 admission and just reserved every seat for $5, knowing that many adults will come and get the dollar discount with a $5 seat. Some kids will come and sit in a seat and bump up with a $5, but knowing that it would balance out across the board with a $5 seat. This will be the very first time that we're trying this. They will have ushers on hand to help find the seats. We'll have maps of pack also. We will cut off the pre-sale of the reserved seating at midnight the night before, and it will be general admission seating also at the $5 time. We have had meetings to go through this. This is an ever-evolving plan.
Are there certain sections of reserved seating or the whole thing is?
The whole thing would be reserved seat. So if you want to sit up in the balcony and have that reserved, yes, you can. If you want to sit down front, yes, you can.
Then they'd have
So
to-
the assigned chairs.
Yep, they're all numbered,
Yeah, that's right.
all numbered.
If you know you want numbered 110 or 115, you can get it.
And it'd be just like going to a concert venue, picking your seat and buying it.
So let's just say 25% of them pick their seats, let's
Yep.
just say.
Yep.
And then I come in and do general admission, but my 25% comes in at 5 minutes early because I know I get my seat. General admission, people know where to sit.
Well,
How would they know if it's?
might have to adjust that and not do general admission, because we did talk about that and talked about, okay, we'd have to have the map and then people'd have to a map of who bought reserved seats, and then we'd have to
Those-
figure out.
Those seats are gonna have to be blocked off. And, yep,
Fine.
No, like.
On the-
actually-
on
We'll
the
have to have a
when you
physical
come in.
map.
yeah, we're gonna have to have a
We
physical
don't do
map.
that, and it's just, you have to buy your ticket online. Because it's all reserved.
Mhm.
So in order to get in on that day, you would have to go to the app.
No, we don't want to have to do that, because we don't want to turn anybody away that doesn't want to have to use the Bound app. We don't want that, and we can't. We have to, by law, we have to offer admission by
It's
cab.
gonna get tricky.
Yep,
So then like you would, somebody would have to go in before and put like a little sticker on the ones that are.
oh, I'm not saying we have all the details worked out,
Yeah.
ma'am.
I think we can, I'm hoping we can print a map that shows these are the seats that are reserved.
Yeah, but then we're
Is-
gonna give that to somebody who's coming in though and say,
Although, yeah, they're gonna have to stop at a kiosk or a little desk or whatever, and we're gonna have to say, okay, these are the seats that are available. My problem is if they have 6 people and there's not 6 seats together, they're gonna have to go sit somewhere else.
Mhm.
Who are the ushers?
I would think we would just they would propose using either,
Assuming me.
Mr. Johannesson.
Brian.
Congratulations.
I am actually in the musical.
Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't know that when you weren't on the stage?
getting ready or anything.
No, I'm not,
We have our class officer.
I'm like, not diminishing the amount of time that you spent on this, but I feel like we're trying to cram this into a very short amount of time. Like, is this not something that would be better that, hey, we do general admission this year? And now that we have the pack and we spend the next year trying to figure out, how do you make that work?
That was a discussion. It was,
I have the same concern.
it was a suggestion.
I have the same concern as Tara, just because.
Was a suggestion.
I mean, I like the idea in theory. I just think you need to work out the logistics. So if we can work out the logistics, I would totally be in support of it, but I just don't think we're there. So that's my.
I agree. So. And Jay, Chad?
I agree.
Yeah, I think if you don't have the logistics down, it could turn into a real mess.
People will be.
And we could put some high school students in really bad positions as well. If they are the ushers saying, hey, you can't sit here.
Correct. So I don't know if Mr. Knutson really wants to get in between. Yeah, already, huh? All right, so table this until next month?
I think.
A year
Here,
Yeah.
from this month.
all right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Appreciate the efforts on it. We do.
Oh, thank you.
It's a good idea.
Starting point. It's a good starting point and but I feel like.
Intent was to try to hopefully fill it. And know that it was gonna be
Right.
ahead of
I
time.
think it will be.
That's
Excited for that.
a different angle to look at it.
You'll probably need
It's gonna be.
additional meetings, right?
Butters and munchkins, so.
No seats, so don't come.
To this one.
Under the same gun, right?
Okay, so.
Her other role
Yeah,
is.
but yeah, we'll have everything planned out.
Yep.
27, 28.
Yeah.
And you don't have to
Yeah.
stand in line.
Does all of our munchkin, all of our have another role? Do something.
So, all right, so we are tabling this.
Yep, tabled.
All right, moving on to number.
Oh.
Sorry.
So we're not charging at all this year. or we're charging $5, general admission.
No, I would still say we can charge. We just,
Yeah.
we just,
Not on bond.
So I do actually need, thank you. I do actually need the motion for charging because they currently don't.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, so, but, all right, so
The.
I need a motion to consider $5 admission for general seating.
so moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. No one's opposed. $5 approved.
Thank you for your hard work with Bound.
Sorry.
It'll be work. We could still work.
I still like that part. Okay, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to number 8, executive session. Can I get a motion to move into executive session 1-25-2.4?
And
And 2.1.
2.1.
And 2.1, thank you.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.